Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Lisa Finkel. I'm from Finkel Pottery in Prince Edward Island, Canada. Still in the middle of winter here. We had snow this week, more snow coming tomorrow. And I'm busy getting ready for a spring pop-up sale next Saturday. So I have a kiln load today that I just unloaded, and then I have one more before the sale, and that'll be it for a while because, as you know, we all build up stock and then go from there. I don't have a ton of variation in this load. I have some pieces that I'm super happy with, and then some pieces that I'm super not happy with, and I'll share that with you. So there is a lot of Mayco frosted lemon in this load. I've been looking for a yellow for a while that wasn't too strong. I do not like yellows when they're too hit you in the face. And I wanted something that was not see-through and something that would play well with other glazes, react well in the kiln and all those pieces. And I think I might have found it with frosted lemon. So I tend to do big waves of colors rather than buckshotting it all over the place because it's a lot more time efficient for me. And I do, as I mentioned previously, so all the stuff I'm doing today would be on Tucker's medium white stoneware, I think mid-smooth stone it's called. I fired to cone 5.5. I use Camille Hoffman's slow cool firing schedule because it really helps with my pinholing. I've said all that before, I think. And I do line all, well, I'd say 90% of my pieces with this satin white. And I thought I would share it with you today. So it's a really simple recipe. And I'll also put it below in the comments. But it uses a lot of, if we look, a lot of the same amount of ingredients, and it's really easy to adjust for more or less. Like usually when I make this, I'll use 2,000 of each because I go through so much of this stuff. And it's a lovely satin white. It's great for lining the inside of your cups. It's so much cheaper than lining your cups with color, although if that's your thing, that's good too. But I just thought I would share that. That's a little tip. And that recipe came from, I belonged to a pottery studio a few years ago, a co-op, and that was one of their sort of standard glazes. So they were happy to let me take some of the glaze recipes with me when I went. So I took that one and I've used it a lot. So starting off, Mayco frosted lemon, and at the top, so Mayco frosted lemon on the bottom. Then on the top, it's Laguna Power Turquoise, and then on top of that is Amico Seaweed. So Mayco, Amico, and Laguna, lots of, and then my liner glaze. So lots of companies at play. See lots of people in comments saying, well, can you dip and paint? And I really haven't hit too many issues with that. I usually tend to dip and paint a lot. For example, I painted on the Mayco frosted lemon, and then I dipped the Laguna Power Turquoise. Then I painted on the Amico Seaweed. So lots of different variations there. I think you just have to play a little bit. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do a kiln load of something if you've never tried it before, but for the most part, it's pretty good. So I've done lots of these. This is Mayco frosted lemon to about here. Then my satin white dipped over top till about there. And then Mayco light flux over. And I'm getting this double flux line, and I didn't create that. I just did a straight flux application, like a thick globby application. But I think it's because where it met, there was a little overlap, and it's picking up a second line, and that's pretty cool. Looks almost like a webbing or something. So I have lots of those in the Mayco frosted lemon. And it really is, I should show you. So here, this would be an example of some flashing. So this is the lemon again in the white and the flux. So same application on my wine cups. But look how pretty that is. Can you see the pink? So some of that is from the flux, but some of that it's just picking up, I think, in the kiln. And someone who knows more about that stuff than me can weigh in here. But It could be what it was next to in the kiln, or it could be where it was in the kiln. But the 2 wine cups both got a little of that pink flashing, which I think is so nice. Really adds to that whole handmade feel, right? Here's one more of this. Same application. And then once again, Mayco Frosted Lemon, and then a little bit of that pink flashing. And it didn't happen on all the pieces. Some of the pieces are just more pure yellow. So it's nice for customers too to have that choice that, do I want something with that little bit of flashing in it, or do I want something that's just pure yellow? So, and when I sell these little dip bowls, and they're easy to throw, and usually it'll be like the end of the day, or if I've got bits of clay or whatever, I'll throw some of these. And then I usually put these little wooden spoons in them. So they're great for dips or sugar or whatever. Also great little hostess gifts and things. So there's a couple more. Gotta do a little grind in there. I had one little run. It doesn't run too much, and when it does, it's mostly from the flux, not from the thing. And then I did a couple of little berry bowls, once again. So I know you're all gonna get bored with frosted lemon, but this is what I had going. And the other reason, of course, when you're painting on glazes, that, and this is the frosted lemon, the white, and then the flux. And it was really lucky, nothing filled in holes wise. It just moved around the holes, which was lovely. And then the little tray. And then I just put a channel in the bottom so that the water can go into the tray. But if you're painting on glazes, you all know it can take a long time for it to dry between coats. So I always try to have enough pieces on the go when I'm painting, if I'm doing one color, so that by the time I finish one, but the last one, then I can go back to the first one and keep on going. So it saves that waiting for stuff to dry, which is painful. So here's another berry bowl. So this one is in frosted lemon, the Laguna Power turquoise, and the Amico seaweed, and got lots of nice drips. Look at that inside, isn't that pretty? With that little bit of color variation where the two meet. So same idea. And these bowls are, I guess I'm kind of off to the side here. These bowls would hold probably like a strawberry clamshell pack, and I probably used, I want to say I used about 900 grams of clay or 850 grams of clay for the bowl itself. So they're not huge ones, but I find if berry bowls are too big, like at our house, we wouldn't eat that many strawberries, except for maybe in the summertime, or berries. Maybe we get a little crazy in berry season, but typically that's plenty big for us. And I'm assuming other people too sometimes. So I'm really happy with this bowl. So this is a really nice size. Let's say it's like an oversized fruit bowl or a small to medium sized salad bowl, like to serve salad to a few people. And it is, look at all that pretty variation. Get it a little closer for you. You can see the yellow in the middle where they're overlapping. So once again, Mayco Frosted Lemon, Laguna Power Turquoise, and Amico Seaweed. So that, I think, is a really pretty combo for the summer. And we live on an island, so water themes and blues are really important. Of course, lots of people like blue regardless of where you live. So these bowls go match that one, and be great for salads with that bowl, but also be great for burrito bowls or Buddha bowls, or you know, whatever you love, that kind of thing, or pasta too, because it's not a highly narrow bowl, it's kind of more of a flat bottom bowl, and pretty stable as well, right? So I did a few of those, and on the outside I'm really liking the variation I'm getting there too. So painted, and actually on this one I didn't dip it, I poured it because I didn't want a straight line across. You know, when you do that and you get that, which is fine sometimes, but sometimes I don't want it. I wanted something a little more organic where they met. So I poured instead. So I painted first, and then I poured, and then I painted again with the seaweed. And then some seaside cups with the starfish and the waves. And this would be, this didn't turn out as blue as I had hoped. What I did first was I took, wasn't Storm, it was Deep Sea, I think, Celadon, is that the name of it? I think so. So I did it into the carving, and then I painted it into the carving and I wiped it back. Then I painted all over with Mayco Wasabi Celadon. And then I did the Deep Sea, a strip of that at the top, and then covered that with some olive float. So that's what I did there. So I did a lot there. And I think next time I would probably add a little bit of flux at the top just to get a little more movement, because I kind of imagined it would move down into the waves, but I forget that Celadons are so stable and so stiff that you have to encourage things to move over them sometimes. It's always like a game, like how much should I and shouldn't I? This one, I like how this one turned out. Really interesting colors. But I should show you this too. So this is another one that I did, and so both of them have fire brick red. So they've both been dipped in fire brick red. This one I dipped in Temuku gold twice first because my Temuku is really thin, so I dipped it twice quickly, and then I dipped it in the fire brick red and did the same thing there with the fire brick red, and then I did a little strip of it's like a runny glaze treatment from John Britt's book, Exploring Mid-Range Glazes, and it's called Jen's Juicy. And when you put this Jen's Juicy on things, it flows like crazy, but you get some really cool effects. So, yeah, for example, I think I showed you this. This is Jen's Juicy on black. So Jen's Juicy is pretty cool. It's really, really fun to play with. So this is the color effect I got. And the Jen's Juicy often will have some turquoise in it, but in this case it didn't. It just, the Temuku Gold somehow made that stay. There's maybe a little bit of dark blue, but not much. But this one, if you look inside, I didn't do any Temuku Gold. I just did the Jen's Juicy. And look, it's almost the same. Like really, the colors are very similar. So really, I don't think I would bother with the Temuku Gold next time. I would just do the Jen's Juicy because you're getting some really nice color variations. A little bit more turquoise is coming through. Once again, these little dip bowls. This I thought turned out pretty cool. So this is ancient copper on the top, and I know that a lot of you are getting some beautiful, beautiful blooms when you're doing your ancient copper, but I think the firing schedule I'm using isn't going to give me that because I am slow cooling, so that, you know, everything's give and take, but I still like it. I think it looks really old. My son is a welder, and he said it looks like copper when you overheat it sometimes. And then I carved a centerpiece here, and then I had power turquoise from the carving all the way to the bottom. Then just where the carving was, I painted the seaweed, a couple of coats. And the variation turned out really, really nice. The flow, so pretty. Yeah, I was happy with that. So I made 2 of those. They'd hold about 16 ounces, I'm thinking. So there we get some flashing of the copper again. Exact same glaze combo. Look at that. Real pretty. Now, I love Ted Lasso. I love that show. I haven't started the 3rd season yet, but for those of you that do, you'll understand what this means. And then look there. I was trying to remember because I did not write down what I put on these. So this is wasabi all the way. And then it is seaweed, kind of applied in a wave. And then a dip in my studio blue, and then a band of Archies Base, which is coyote. And Archies Base loves to spider web and run like this. It does a lot of things. It really, really breaks up the glaze. It's very, very pretty. And the other thing I'm noticing with Archies Base is you often get, at the schedule I'm using, you often get this kind of real delineation where the glaze comes down. I think that's nice too. So the first one said be a goldfish. Second one, same ode to the same show. Be curious, believe. There we go. That. I showed you that. Oh, this is my Waterfall Mug. So this has got a studio green. It's just a Celadon that I made using my clear recipe and adding a mason stain. I can't remember which one I used. I think I used a mix of a blue and a green at a very low level. So I got this kind of minty bluey green. And then the top is what I call my waterfall glaze. So this one I do blue, and then I do olive float over the blue, and then I just do splotches, random splotches of Mayco flux all over, and you get these really pretty effects. And here's another one with the waterfall glaze, and this one has alabaster on the bottom. And it's got quite a bit of running. This was a refire, so it ran a little more than it normally would, but look at that. Did not run off the thing, so that was good. This piece I was very disappointed in. I made these cups and I did these soft little pink flowers, which I thought were so pretty. And I envisioned this little band of light blue that would just kind of slightly drop down. Well, you know what happens when you envision things in pottery and you've never done it before. I did put a little band of Norse blue at the top, and then I put flux over that little band, and I should not have. So I've kind of got a cloudy blue happening over the flowers. I do not love it, but I have learned, and I do like the cup. I think I would try that again. I think it'd be a pretty mug. It's very soft, very understated, and the flowers are fun for spring. And all those retro flowers are really, really big right now. But I will not be doing that effect again. So lesson learned. And what is a kiln load if there isn't something that you learn from in it? So I think I learned from all of them, that's for sure. A couple of trinket dishes here. And that's in that power turquoise and seaweed. And I think I showed you this last video. It is an ombre bowl, and it's all coyote glazes, which I really love. But there was a couple of little pinholes in it, and they're smooth. There's nothing wrong, like they're not sharp or anything like that. But I thought I'm just gonna dab a bit of glaze over the pinholes and refire on the next load. And didn't fix them. Actually, I think I might have fixed them and a couple of new ones popped up. So there's something that it does not like inside the bowl. The outside of the bowl is fine, but the inside, and I did mugs in this and they turned out beautifully. So somehow the inside of the bowl does not like that glaze. So this is, oh lordy. I know this one is frosted topaz, the green. The blue is blue hydroscale. And the pinkish one is, oh God, it's gone. I don't know, I forget. It will come to me. Anyway, that's it for the pieces. The only other thing I wanted to show you was this tester cup, which I think was the really interesting thing that came out of the kiln. So this is a cup that I blew the bottom out of. So of course we use them as tester cups. We all do that. So I really do love Coyote Fairy Rose. I use it a lot sparingly in pieces, like in this. So that's splotches of it with flux over it, right? And that was from a previous load, and I think I showed you that already. But I also love it. I was trying to think of some ways I could use it in different ways. And I thought, well, first I have to find something that plays really well with it, that maybe I could put that at the top and then another color at the bottom or something like that. So they turned out pretty cool. So the first one was that Jen's Juicy that I told you about from John Britt's book. This is Jen's Juicy. So probably 2 coats painted on, and then 2 coats of Coyote Fairy Rose Pink over it. And it's really cool. Very, very turquoisey. Yeah, I was happy with that. This one really shocked me. This one is all afloat under 2 coats. So probably just 1 thick coat of all afloat, I think. I don't think I did 2 coats. I just did a thick coat and let it dry well. And then 2 coats of Fairy Rose over that. And that turned out so fun. I think a mug at the top with this, and then maybe a little bit of the pink showing, and then turquoise would be super, super cool. And then this one I thought it's interesting. I think it's got possibilities. So this one is Mayco Night Moth, 1 thick coat, and then 2 coats of Fairy Rose over that. And it's got like blues and blacks and like purple breaking on the rim, which is really cool. So this one's got some possibilities too. So that was really fun. So that was probably the funnest thing in the load. So anyway, that's it for today. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you like what I'm doing, like and subscribe. If you have questions, please reach out. I'm happy to answer them. And I have 1 more kiln load, as I said, cooling as we speak. So I'll do another video and let you see that last one before my sale next weekend. So take care, everyone. Talk to you soon.